bit about your educational background and how you became a prosecutor?
I graduated from Southern Methodist University in 1974 with a business degree, and then went to SMU Law School and obtained my law degree in 1977, and became a prosecutor in Dallas County with the Dallas County District Attorney's Office in 1977.
How long have you practiced law?
I practiced law for 32 years with this sentence.
And how many years have you been a prosecutor?
22 years of that I've been a prosecutor.
Would you please give us an outline of positions you've held as a prosecutor?
Sure. When I first began as a prosecutor, like all prosecutors in Dallas County, I was assigned to a misdemeanor court, and my main functions there were to prosecute misdemeanor offenses such as simple assaults, smaller theft cases, drug possession cases, and primarily driving while intoxicated or DUI cases. Did that for about 15 months, and after 15 months I was then assigned to my first felony court, where I prosecuted a whole range of felony cases, all the way from felony drug possession cases to aggravated assaults to more serious offenses such as robbery, burglaries, and murder. I was assigned to several felony courts, and after 3 years I was then made a felony chief prosecutor, where I was in charge of the prosecutors and the investigators in the felony court that I was assigned to. I stayed a prosecutor for 4.5 years in Dallas County. I then left to go into private practice for 10 years. 2 of those years I was doing criminal defense work. The other 8 years I was doing civil litigation. After that period of time, I decided to become a prosecutor again. I rejoined the Dallas County District Attorney's Office in 1992. My first assignment was as a felony court chief again, where I remained there for 1 year. After that, I became the chief felony prosecutor over the misdemeanor division, and my primary duties there were to supervise 35 misdemeanor prosecutors, help train them, and I remained there for about 1.5 years. After that period of time, I became a supervising felony prosecutor, where my main duties were to supervise prosecutors in felony courts, and in addition to begin trying capital murder cases where the state was seeking the death penalty. And I did that in Dallas County from 1994 to 2002, at which time I left Dallas County. I went to the county adjoining, which is Collin County, to become the first assistant or the chief deputy for Collin County. And I've been there for the last 7 years. My duties right now include administrative duties, the day-to-day operations of the office, as well as continuing to prosecute capital murders and other serious offenses.
Have you seen women's roles change in the field of prosecution since you began?
Yes, very much so. When I first began in Dallas County in 1977, we had approximately 125 prosecutors at that time, and there were probably, it's fair to say, probably between 5, at the very most, 10 women who were prosecutors, so less than 10% of the prosecutors were women. While I was at Dallas County, I started to see that number change somewhat, with a slight increase in the number of females who were prosecutors. When I came back to prosecution in 1992, there had been a dramatic change, and by 1992, in the middle 1990s anyway, upwards of 1/2 of all the prosecuting staff were females. And when I got to Collin County, actually I believe right now our numbers are that more than 50% of our prosecutors are females. So I've seen a dramatic increase in the number of women who are prosecutors, and I've also seen a number of women in leadership roles as prosecutors during my 32 years.
What do you think, in your opinion, caused this change in the number of female prosecutors?
I think there were 2 things primarily. I think, first of all, more women were interested in going to law school, because when I was in law school, the vast majority of the students were male. Today, if you go to law schools, and I go and visit and talk with law students from time to time, more than 50% of the law students are female. environment has changed and that they're going to be much more welcome in prosecutors' offices. They're going to have greater opportunities in prosecutors' offices if that's what they want. And I see it just more women, it seems like, just have an interest in law enforcement in general and prosecution than they have in the past. But I think the recruitment and the encouragement that we've shown toward women, I think, has helped to increase that number. I think it's word of mouth. I think the applicants hear that the offices are interested in them, therefore they're more apt to apply. And then I think that they have had experiences with friends who work and have positive experiences, and so that attracts more applicants as well.
On a similar note, have you noticed any similar changes in women's roles in policing?
Yes. It's been very similar to what we've seen in prosecution. When I began as a prosecutor, it was very rare at that time to see female patrol officers. We didn't interact with very many of them. There were a few female detectives, but very few of them. And over the years, I've seen both those numbers increase dramatically. It's not unusual at all now to have a case brought in by a patrol officer who happens to be female. And many of the detectives that we deal with now on more serious offenses tend to be women also. And so I've really seen a parallel, just like I've seen in the prosecutor's office. I've seen the same thing with police agencies also.
In your opinion, is there any difference in a woman's ability to perform her duties as a police officer or a prosecutor?
No, not really. Especially with prosecuting, since there are no physical differences in what I do and what a woman does in a courtroom. We have the very same opportunities, and we require the very same skills to perform the job. You have to have a knowledge of the law, and certainly the women are up to par there. As far as advocacy in a courtroom, the things that we teach males, young prosecutors, we teach the very same thing to the women, and they have an equal opportunity there as well to perform just as well as any male. So as far as prosecution, I really haven't seen any big difference. I think in the offices that I've practiced, I've seen that women tend to gravitate toward different sections, specialty sections that men tend not to gravitate to, such as child abuse sections, where we're dealing with young victims who have been the victim of sexual assaults, and also in the area of domestic violence or family violence. My experience, again, has been that I've talked to many more women who have expressed an interest in doing that kind of prosecution than men. With respect to the women that I've dealt with in the police forces, I haven't seen a large difference in performance between the two. Right now, most of my interaction is with detectives, and some of my most recent cases, I've been dealing almost exclusively with female detectives, and I've been very pleased with their performance as well. So, particularly with detectives' work, I don't see any disadvantage that women have as far as performance in that area either.
What do you think the reason is that women gravitate towards specialized departments in the prosecutor's office?
Well, I think that women, I think that it may be the nurturing aspect of a woman, especially with regards to